Good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday night and it is wine time, and we're talking about anxiety. I hope you have something to drink. I hope you are comfortable, and please let me know where you're watching from. And if you have any questions or comments, tonight is our 10-minute quickie. We're just going to be summarizing the talk that we did last week on Wednesday about anxiety, friend or foe. And some of the questions that came through, I'm going to just highlight those and just re-mention, because those are the frequently asked questions that come up all the time from parents. So in my 28 odd years of experience working with children in the classroom, and I suppose dealing with parents and their specific concerns about their children, we thought that anxiety would be a good topic to discuss this evening. So I'm going to quickly highlight those 4 frequently asked questions. But let me know in the comments who you are and where you're from, so that we can have an interactive discussion this evening. I love to know who's watching, where you're watching from, and if there's anything that you need answered as we go through this session. So the first question, by the way, my name is Philippa Fabry. I'm an education consultant here in Rebecca. And we are coming live from our St. Francis Bay office this evening, actually. And it is lovely to be with you. And hopefully you will come away with some gold nuggets of information about your child and how you can better support her or him with anxiety. So here we go. Let's talk about some of the questions that have come up. And firstly, I'm going to show the faces of anxiety. So these are the typical kind of faces that we might see in children. Looking at the little boy and knowing that the way little boys handle anxiety is very different to how little girls handle anxiety. And then of course our teenagers, again, very different to our little ones at how they deal with anxiety. So specific question that I was asked about, are teens often in denial about the anxieties that they face? So that was the one question. So I think yes, I think teens are, because firstly, it's not cool to have something wrong with you. It's not cool to seem to be having issues. Teens want to be seen to have everything under control. Everything is cool. They are cool, calm and collected. They don't like to really let on, especially to their friends, that they're anxious or that they're feeling overwhelmed. Whether they're in denial or whether they're just not wanting to show how they're feeling, definitely that is something that parents need to really address and be aware of. So when you speak to teens, you know, it's all about the fact that yes, you might be feeling overwhelmed, yes, you might be feeling anxious, you might be feeling stressed, and it's okay. And we must talk about it and we must deal with it. And it's quite normal. These are feelings that are, everybody feels anxiety. Everybody feels anxious. It's quite normal. It's whether, if you're feeling that all the time, is where we actually need to sort of be concerned. In fact, if you think about yourselves, if you are in an anxious or a fear-invoking situation, so let's say you narrowly managed to avoid a motor car accident. You narrowly avoided it. Imagine how your heart is racing, your mouth would be dry, your palms would be sweaty, you'd be breathing, heavy breathing, you'd be feeling extremely anxious. That is a normal reaction to something. Now, if you are feeling that 90% of the time, whether there's a trigger or something that happened that caused that anxiety or not, you are in that anxious mode all the time. That is a generalized anxiety disorder. I'm going to talk about the types of anxiety in a second. Let's have a look if there are any questions that have come through. So it's about teens and how they manage, or do they deny that they have anxiety? Is it more difficult to detect in our teens? So I think with teens, again, they're already going through some difficulties. They're already going through a transition from childhood into adolescence, into adulthood. So the moods are going to be different. They are going to spend a lot more time in their room. They are going to express possibly anger and irritability, maybe there's a bit of aggression, you've got to make sure that that is not being caused by anxiety. You've got to check that that is just normal teenage behavior. If it's becoming an issue where you're noticing it more and more, and it just doesn't seem to be warranted or doesn't seem to be sort of a normal reaction to an exam that's coming up, or they've got lots of projects and things coming up, then obviously there's going to be some irritability and there's going to be some anxiety and possibly some moodiness. But anxiety that carries on and on and on and on all the time, there's reason to be concerned. Hi, Jeannie. I haven't got my glasses on, help me. Jeannie. School refusal at 10 years, scared to go to school. Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. So the types of anxiety that we might see. There's a generalized anxiety disorder, and these are the little worry warts that are anxious about all kinds of things. They worry unnecessarily about things that are beyond their control. So if there's going to be I don't know, a tornado, or is there going to be a thunderstorm, and is the house going to blow up, and are we going to all be dead? Things like that, where it's just irrational sort of fears. That's a generalized anxiety disorder. A separation anxiety disorder is where the children don't obviously want to be without their parents or their caregivers. So they're not wanting to do sleepovers, they're not wanting to go to parties on their own, they're not wanting to separate you at events, or if you go to the park, they're not wanting to go and explore and play on their own. They want to stay with you and hang around with you. That separation anxiety, usually they do grow out of that. If they don't, and now we're talking about primary school, and they're not wanting to go to school, they're wanting to stay with you because they're worried about something might happen to you as the parent, or something might happen as you're driving home from dropping them off at school. They want to be with you all the time. That is an issue that I would definitely chat to somebody about. The school phobia or specific phobias, the question was about school phobia. So specific phobia is something that where there has been a trigger, there has been something that occurred, and the child then develops an anxiety or a phobia about that thing. So let's take, for example, the child is bitten by a dog when they were young. They might develop a fear about dogs or for dogs. So they might not want to walk to school in case they encounter a dog on the way. So that is a specific phobia. We as adults know we can be afraid of heights, or we can be afraid of spiders, or we can be afraid of being I don't know, claustrophobia is a specific phobia about closed spaces. So if my child was worrying about going to school and not wanting to go to school, I'd try and identify the reason. Are they scared about a certain subject? Are they scared of a certain teacher? Are they worried about performance? Do they have performance anxiety? They're worried about incidences at school. They're worried about break times. They might be worried about phys ed. They might not like a certain teacher in a certain lesson. So on that day when that lesson is going to be taking place, they don't want to go to school. So I would definitely investigate, what is it? What is the reason that they're not wanting to go to school? And try and find what it is, and then start from there. Another type of anxiety is your social anxiety disorder, where they are anxious about being around people. They don't like being around lots of people. They might be sort of your very shy children, but it's more than just being shy. They really don't like being in a situation where they could be embarrassed, they could be teased, and they prefer to spend sort of time at home where they're feeling safe, where they feel secure, and with people around them that they feel safe with. Another one is, okay, we spoke about all four: the separation anxiety, the social anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder, and then specific phobias. Another question is, what are the natural ways of dealing with anxiety? So a question that I had from a mom was, I don't want to put my child on medication. They do have anxiety, and we're trying to manage it as best we can. So I would definitely try that first and see how best you can support and manage your child before you go the medication route. Look, medication is not a quick fix. Usually, medication is suggested along with therapy or counseling or play therapy or some or other counseling where the child is taught how to manage their anxiety. Look, the medication is basically just putting a plaster on a wound and not treating the wound. It's just covering it up. You need to work with the child's emotions and feelings to develop that awareness of that feeling. When that emotion is there, what is the feeling that they feel? How does the body react? And then that cognitive awareness of, why am I feeling like that? Oh, it's because I'm anxious, and I'm anxious because there is that trigger. And then being aware and being accepting of that sort of feeling or emotion that they have. That it's okay, I'm not going to die, nothing's going to happen to me, I just need to breathe, I need to do my exercises, I need to do my mindfulness, I need to do the things that I maybe count backwards from 10 to 1, or there are various things that you can do to manage that anxiety when it happens. Some children do struggle with panic attacks. That's another thing that sort of occurs out of the blue, and they don't understand what it is. And sometimes a panic attack, when you watch a child having a panic attack, it can be quite alarming, and you think that there's something physically wrong, and you immediately think, oh, there's something wrong with their heart, or they might be having an epileptic fit, or something's happening, and they don't understand what it is. And those panic attacks can be avoided, and they can also be managed with the correct sort of management or breathing exercises, visualizations, and things like that. The other question is, how do I help my child to share her feelings? So I think I did sort of mention that about the whole cognition, the knowing how the body reacts when we're fearful, when we're anxious, going with those feelings, being aware of those feelings and knowing that they're normal and that the feeling will eventually go away. I just need to work through them and then be back to normal again. That is really what I wanted to speak about this evening, those 4 questions. And when a parent needs to take their child to a practitioner, when do I need to actually know that this is not normal and it's time to seek professional help? And I think when the anxiety starts to encroach on their daily lives, when, for example, they do not want to go to school, when they don't want to go to a shopping center because they're anxious about being in a shopping center with lots of people, where you can see that this sort of episode is now starting to be part of their lives and isn't just a phase that they're going through. It's not just, okay, exam time, so my child's going to normally be anxious, and everybody goes through exam times and it's quite normal. But if past exam time the child is still anxious and there's still that general anxiety, that general worry, not sleeping properly, maybe losing their appetite, saying things like, I'm scared, or I don't want to, or I worry about, those are triggers, and those are things that parents need to really listen, talk, communicate, and seek help. And when I say seek help, I think the best person to go to first of all is your family practitioner, your GP. I would start there because that person would hopefully know your family best, and they hopefully would know your child from when they were little. So start there and go and speak to your doctor and discuss those feelings and discuss what's happening. Hi Lee, oh it's Leanne Bennett. Hi Lee, do you have a question? Please send questions through, you're more than welcome. There's another question. Hello Gail, nice to see you. So start with your family practitioner, and if he suggests that I think you must maybe go and see a child psychiatrist or go and get some counseling from a psychologist, then by all means go that route. But start with your doctor. Also chat to family members. Family members also know your child best. Have they noticed a change in behavior? Do they have anxiety? Is there anxiety in the family? We know that anxiety is a hereditary thing. So if there's anxiety in your family, there's more chance than not that your child might have anxiety. And it's 50% more common in girls than it is in boys as well, just FYI. So we're getting to the end now. That was 15 minutes, it was meant to be 10, but it's okay. We've really just sort of bottled everything up from last week into a little short thing. If you have any specific queries, please email me. My email address is there, philippafab@gmail.com. My Facebook page is Philippa Fabry Education Consultant, and my Facebook group is PFEC Village. You're welcome to join that as well. The resources are there. I'm available, WhatsApp, email, and if you want to set up a free consultation with me anytime, please do so. But it's been lovely spending this short time with you. Thank you for the comments. We'll see you next week. We'll be chatting again 8 o'clock, same time, same place. I will let you know what the topic's going to be next week. But thank you so much for watching, and have a great evening further. Bye-bye.